muscle tissue to the joint tissue to your nerve tissue in the process. And when it goes on and on and on, a lot of those aches and pains that we just attribute to old age are actually due to what we're putting in our stomachs. Another thing, visceral autonomic inhibition. This is basically having to do with viscera, so our internal organs, automatic inhibition. So the easiest way I can try to explain it is that our organs and our muscles, in certain areas of the body, they share common nerve fibers, like pain receptors from nerves. They share it. They're in the same nerve loop. So if we have an organ that is in pain, then what's going to happen is the muscle is going to behave the same way, and vice versa. Because what happens, like if you look at the stomach area, right, our abdominal wall, in our digestive system, if you have something that's inflaming your intestinal tract, well, you can see that the connection, that the nerve fibers are all shared. So what happens before, when we feel pain, we don't feel pain until it's significant enough that the signal transmits to the area of the spine, and then it travels all the way up into the brain where it's recognized, and our brain basically interprets it as, hey, something's hurting here. The problem is that your brain doesn't know if it's the muscle or the organ that's in pain. So when it has to make a decision, it's got to heal something up and fix something, and it has to basically shut something down to do it. And if your brain has a decision to make between a muscle and an organ, your muscles are a slave system to your organs, because you can live without the function of a lot of muscles, but you can't live without the digestive system. You can't try and live without a liver. Right? Things like that, so it'll shut that down. To the next slide. So, how many people, when they want to lose weight, what is the most common exercise they're doing? Abdominal exercise. I want my tummy to go down. I want to burn fat. Well, the point that I'm trying to make with all of this is that if we're eating foods, even so-called healthy foods, that are constantly inflaming our digestive system, they're going to shut that abdominal wall down. No matter how many crunches you do, nothing's going to burn off. And on top of that, think of how many people suffer from low back pain at some point in your life. 80%, at least 80%. And one of the things that's always recommended when you have back pain is to strengthen your stomach muscles, right? Strengthen the core. How are you going to strengthen the core if your brain's shutting it down because you're inflamed with the stuff that you're eating all the time? So another concern that we have is cholesterol levels. People are running around with high cholesterols and getting told to take all these drugs and statins and things like that. So there's some interesting facts that I want to talk about with high cholesterol. Cholesterol functions as an antioxidant in our body, and it actually supports our immune system. 70% of the lining in our intestinal tract is basically our immune system. It's tied directly to it. And the cells are produced by cholesterol. Cholesterol provides the building blocks for our cells and for certain hormones in our bodies. So a lot of times, we don't hear about things like this. Instead, we're being told to take drugs and medications to treat cholesterol, but cholesterol is really just a symptom. Would it be more effective to take a drug and alleviate the symptom, but we'd have to take the drug forever, because as soon as we come off it, the symptoms come back? What if we could identify what was causing the symptom in the first place? So why are your cholesterol levels high? Well, when's the last time that you've been told that cholesterol is actually needed to build cells of your body? So if our cells are always dying and being replenished and dying and being rebuilt, we have like a new body all the time. We never have the same body that we did when we were born, always regenerating new cells. Well, if we have something like a compromised immune system, where our body's having to rebuild a lot of cells because there's a lot of damage going on in there, cholesterol is the building blocks of the cells. Our cholesterol levels can be high because of it. Damage to the arteries. You know, we look at things like atherosclerosis, right, where the plaque deposits plaque gets deposited in the arteries. It's made of cholesterol, and the artery walls get more narrow and narrow, restricts blood supply, and then heart attacks and all this stuff starts happening. And we start to hear about, well, you should reduce your cholesterol. Right? Make sure, among other things, don't eat cholesterol. Well, remember, cholesterol is just a symptom of something going on. A lot of times, the very things that we're eating and put in our bodies are the things that are causing damage to the arteries in the first place. And all our bodies are doing is trying to lose cholesterol, much like we do a Band-Aid on a cut on our finger, just to patch it up. Damaged cardiovascular system. Sometimes too much exercise, like I said, your cortisol level, your cholesterol levels can actually be elevated because your body's trying to rebuild your cardiovascular system cells. So you hear about a million things, but when's the last time you heard too much stress can possibly be elevating your cholesterol levels? Pregnenolone steal. This has nothing to do with like pregnancy or stealing babies or anything like this. Okay? What this has to do with, it follows right along with cholesterol. Cholesterol is used to manufacture a lot of hormones in our body, and basically it's converted into pregnenolone. So pregnenolone is used to build our anabolic hormones, our rest and recovery ones, and our catabolic hormones. So every time we experience stress, pregnenolone is producing cortisol and all of our adrenal hormones and things that are going on there. So what happens is when we're constantly in this sympathetic nervous system dominant state, we've got stress going on and on and on, something called a pregnenolone steal starts to happen, where instead of pregnenolone being used to also build your anabolic recovery hormones, you got so much stress going on, it's basically stolen to keep producing cortisol and stress hormones. And on it goes.